Who that family? Check out the Pro Shop. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. So check out the Pro Shop and who that too.
Thanks, Pelicans. You're now tuned into the Pelican post-game report. Much love to the fam. Appreciate each and every last one of y'all for joining me in this episode of the Pelican post-game report. I'm Big Q. We got my host, DC. What's happening, DC? How you doing, brother? And DC has to unmute himself. Anyway, shout out to the fam as we in this episode of the Coma. This one is called the Pelicans, man. This is the Pelican schedule release show. We're going to go over the Pel schedule in this episode of the Coma. So while DC unmutes his mic so he can talk.
It won't take that long.
All right. So DC kind of slow with the technology.
I ain't want to cut you off, bro.
DC's chiming in all the way from Jamaica. The internet's not that good. So
I'm in Jamaica, bro. Why is you lying to the people? I'm in Nautica.
DC, please. I'm talking to the family. All right. So shout out to the family.
You paid me to move over here, man. $10,000 and some free land.
Appreciate y'all for this episode. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, fam. We up in this thing. We're gonna start off by hitting you with this video, the latest release by the Pelicans, and of course David Griffin, the Yo Octopus's office. Let's hear what he got to say here.
Oh, what?
You get used to it.
Better get used to it.
Better get used to it. All right, fam. That's the commercial right there. Pretty clever by them to utilize the situation DC with the piano, man. They play right into the advertisement. Pretty clever by the octopus, man. Very talented. He played the hell out of the piano, though.
Blending his fingers like he was really playing the piano.
You don't think that was the octopus, bro? It looked like
Hell
the
no.
octopus.
You couldn't see that was different hands on that damn piano.
DC, you know how to play the guitar, so that's probably how you know that.
Man, when he was playing it and they showed his whole body, David Griffin didn't know what the hell he was doing. He wasn't lying, bro. He really don't know how to play the piano.
All right, so anyway, let's get into this one, man. Shout out to the flock, man. The Pelicans, man. The 2022-23 schedule release. As Pelicans announced it, they released it today, and we're going to go over it here and now. So shout out to the family members. Thank y'all for joining us. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the share button. The Pelican post game report is live and direct. So here we go with this one. As you can start off with it, let me kind of get a little bit more.
Live and direct.
Yeah, that's right, DC. All right, so anyway, we're going to start off 2022-23 NBA regular season schedule, DC. Starts that first thing off in, we start off, man, in the first month here, in the 10th month, starting off on the 19th at Brooklyn, at Charlotte. Then we are home a couple of games against Utah, Dallas. We got Phoenix, and then we close out the month with the Clippers, going to the Clippers. So a couple of interesting games. We start off a couple of matches. We open up the season at the Brooklyn Nets. Then we travel to a very unique Charlotte club. Then we got two actual home games against the Utah team, a tough Dallas team with Luka. And of course, we close out the month with matchups at Phoenix, at Clippers, at Lakers. And actually, the Lakers game will start off the month of November. So what do you think about some of those matchups? We'll kind of go month to month right there. Very interesting. We starting off with the Brooklyn Nets, man. I don't know what's going on with KD. I don't think he'll suit up for him, but still in all, got to handle the business there. Which one of those matchups kind of stick out to you starting off the first month?
The Phoenix matchup. I'm excited about that one, but why we got all these road games? Like we couldn't get Phoenix at home, man. Like we got 10 games and we got 7 road games out of the first 10 games. That's just a little weird to me. Really would like to be tuned in for the Phoenix game. I think we closed the deal. The Clippers game is also a good one, but 2 days after the Phoenix game, that's kind of tough. And then we go into the Lakers and Golden State. So that little stretch right there is very interesting. Along with Dallas, you can add them in that too, man. That's gonna be a nice little let's see what we made run right there, So I'm excited about that whole stretch, really. But if I had to pick one game, for me, it's Phoenix. Just knowing what we did in that series where we played them in the playoffs, and the Pelicans could have taken that series. I would really love to see them get up for this game. That's a live, televised, primetime, 9:00 game. You know what I mean? And see them get the W, man, against Phoenix. That's the one that I'm really going to be honed into, along with those other 5.
The Dallas matchup is on TNT at 6:30 tip-off time, right there. And, of course, you mentioned 3 days later, a Friday matchup at Phoenix. That's the ESPN matchup. And then that same weekend, Sunday matchup, 12 p.m. is a noon game against the Clippers. And it'll be fun watching them with that healthy Clipper club. And then, of course, then later on in the middle of that week, they got the Lakers. Well, let's get into the rest of it here. The schedule here, as you can see, the Lakers start off the month of November for the Pelicans on the 2nd. 2 days later, they come home for Golden State, but one at home for Golden State. And then 3 games the Pelicans have to go on the road against the Atlanta Hawks, the Indiana Pacers, and the Chicago Bulls. And that's between the 5th and the 9th of November. Then the next day, the 10th of November, we come home for a good road stand, DC. So you get Portland, Houston, Memphis, Chicago, Boston, and Golden State all at home. That's a pretty good one. Now, you've seen how we started the schedule. Very few home games, the Utah and Dallas game, and then the Golden State game. And then right after the Chicago game, away game, the Pelicans come home for Portland, Houston, Memphis, Chicago, Boston, and Golden State. That's 6 games home before they then travel back to go see the Spurs on the 23rd, which is on NBA TV, and then the Memphis Grizzlies, which is on not the Spurs is on NBA TV, but the Memphis game is on NBA TV. And of the 6 home games,
Memphis game is on TNT. The Houston game is on NBA TV, bro.
They're showing on this list here Memphis on 11/25, 11/25/22 is NBA TV. That's on this.
I got the SeatGeek schedule I'm looking at, and they're saying
Your schedule's wrong, DC. Follow up with the Americans, bro. Stop listening to Jamaican stuff, brother. I'm just messing with you. But anyway,
nah,
yeah.
you talking about 25th. I was looking at the 15th.
Yeah, so you look at the 15th. Yeah, we're going back to the 15th. That is the TNT matchup. So out of the 6 home games, the Pelicans have 2 televised matchups with the NBA TV and TNT nationally, meaning. So that's a couple games. So 6-game homestand for the Pelicans against Portland, Houston, Memphis, Chi-Town, and Boston, and then closing out with Golden State. From them stretch of games, let's talk about that.
Obviously it's gonna be the Memphis game, man. That's gonna be the biggest one, at least for me, and all the trash I done talked about them being our little brothers. So it's gonna be my moment to finally see the Pels live up to those expectations. Telling you right now, they're gonna get a victory in that game, especially with it being a 6:30 game. I don't know, man. It's just something about when they play Memphis early, man. We've dominated them a lot of times with Bi and Zion playing, obviously. Um, I don't see anything changing with that. I don't think they have any answer for us, along with us pretty much being able to do whatever we want this year, man. I mean, my God, like we done got way better. And the old roster we had in Memphis couldn't really deal with us. I mean, JV was the one guy that was killing us with them, but obviously they're a better team now. Um, I don't think they stand a chance. But moving on to the other lineups, the Boston game will be very interesting. That's always a good game with the Pelicans. Um, you got Bi over there and Mr. Tatum, who a lot of people go back and forth on saying which one is better than the other one. So I think this will be a real interesting matchup to look at. And man, we just can't get enough of Golden State, huh? We play them twice within that month. So that's interesting as well, man. And then we double back and play Phoenix. I mean, not Phoenix, Memphis again. On NBA TV on Thanksgiving, right? It looks like Thanksgiving. So got some interesting matchups here, man. The first, basically, second month of the season, but our first stretch of legitimate home games. Other than the first 2 we go into a nice little run with Memphis and Boston and Golden State and Chicago, bro. So they did it to us on the road, and then they double back and hit us at home with a lot of tough matchups. It's going to be a very interesting start to the season. If anything, I think this will probably be the roughest stretch for the Pelicans to open up the season. Just getting acclimated with Bi and Zion, and what they want to do with that, knowing that it's not going to be how it was with Stan Van Gundy, where they basically was just your turn, my turn, and being staggered and all that. I think Willie Green is going to be a lot more creative with them. But for it to be perfected, it's obviously going to take time. So this is going to be a good test, man, for the Pels to open the season, because this is a pretty rough schedule. I'm looking at it to open up the season, at least.
Yeah, very interesting because we're looking at the matchups against Boston. We got Golden State a couple of times, Chicago a couple of times, the Clippers in there with Phoenix. So it's definitely an intriguing schedule. Now, after we deal with the Memphis team on Thanksgiving, then the Pelicans
a couple of times.
Yeah, then we have the Pelicans come home for a couple of games against Oklahoma and Toronto, and then of course they start December off on the 2nd, going to San Antonio. Then the Pelicans return home for 4 straight, not straight, but 4 road home games. Excuse me. They have Denver for the first time in the season, followed by Detroit, Phoenix again. So Phoenix on the 12th. On the 9th of December, and then again on the 11th of December. So they have Friday and Sunday Phoenix matchups there. So that they looking like they're trying to cook that Phoenix thing. So that's 3 times we'll face the Suns within those couple of months there. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff going on in there. And of course, DC, when the middle of December, we got matchups against Utah after the back-to-back Phoenix matchups. Then we have Utah with a couple of matchups at away in Utah, and then we go to Phoenix to finish off Phoenix right there. So if I'm not mistaken, that'll be 4 times within the first couple of months that we'll be doing that. We probably get out of Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken, looking at the schedule. So we probably be done with them. Yeah, we'll be done with them because we played them on the 28th. We played them early in the season, right after the Dallas matchup, 3 days after, and then you go down and then you see Phoenix. Where is it? I think that's it. I think that is DC. Yeah, you got them in the back-to-back matchups, and then actually you got them again. No, that'll do it. Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
And that'll be the last time we play them. So we'll be done with Phoenix on the Saturday of December the 17th of this year. So damn, they get them out the way, and then that's an NBA TV game. Once that happens, we come back home for Milwaukee, Giannis, San Antonio again at home, back on the road against OKC, back home with Indiana, Minnesota, and Philly. And then, of course, Memphis to close out the month of December on the 31st at Memphis at 7 p.m. So no Christmas Day games, DC, on the 23rd at OKC at 7. And then, of course, on the 26th, the day after Christmas, home game against Indiana. Let's talk about that stretch.
Yeah, it's another pretty tough stretch. You can see it's lightening up a little bit. You got Detroit sprinkled in there, some San Antonio, Utah, San Antonio twice as well. They give you a little bit of a break, and then they throw you Houston and Brooklyn and Washington. So it's a little lighter, but you play Philly twice. You play Phoenix 3 times. You play, who else am I missing? Memphis is in there, and you play Dallas. So it's a nice little mix, man. You can see the schedule is starting to ease up a little bit from that November, which is going to be a pretty tough month. So it's still a little rough here, but I think this whole season is just going to be immensely entertaining, man. With all the teams they got in the West, and with what the Pels have built now, man. High expectations from all of us here in the flock, and I don't think they're gonna disappoint. So I'm looking forward to see how this Phoenix matchup goes, because I think we'll forever always have pretty much, I guess, somewhat like a rival with Phoenix. The Utah thing to me is looking to be dead. There was almost like a rivalry type atmosphere, and I think that'll just be changed out for Phoenix. So out of all of those games, I'm looking at Phoenix again, as I was in previous months, but also Philly, man. I want to see how we fare against Philly. Every time we played Philly, it was always Joel Embiid just kind of doing what the hell he wanted, man. We got some victories on them, of course, but Joel had big games against us, and now with the addition of Harden, and who knows if they get Kevin Durant, what that would look like. So that's also another interesting matchup. And the other game I would want to see just how it matches up, Minnesota. We clowned the hell out of them for trading for Rudy Gobert. Yes, we did, and not just us. Pretty much everybody who watches NBA basketball thought that was crazy. But they went out, obviously got Rudy Gobert to pair with Big Cat, in my opinion, to try and counteract what's going on with the Pels, especially with Zion coming back. So I'll be tuning in to see what happens there a few days after Christmas.
All right, let's run through the rest of this schedule for the release schedule here. After the first, and you mentioned Philadelphia, man, to start the month, New Year off on the 2nd of the new year. They're at Philly. And of course, we come home for a couple of games against Houston and Brooklyn. Pelicans are back on the road against Dallas and Washington from the 7th of January of next year to Boston, Detroit, and Cleveland. All road games, a tough game going to Boston. Detroit, a lot of people like the new players they added. They'll be an exciting team to watch. And of course, Cleveland really took a lot of people by storm, and that'll all be on the road. The Pelicans, and that the road schedule kind of ends right there. That little stretch of road games ends on the 16th of January. Pelicans come home for one game, and that's against a very difficult Miami team. Then they go back on the road at Orlando, at Miami in the matchup. And then as they get close to ending the month of January, they come home for about a 4-game stretch, 3-game stretch. Denver, Minnesota, who you just spoke up, and then Washington. We get a look at Washington. And then, of course, the Pelicans go back on the road to close out the month of January They leave to go against Milwaukee. Giannis again. They got that Denver club that we talked about. Both of those are nationally televised game. The Milwaukee and Denver matchup, and then they travel to Dallas to take on the Mavericks. And then once again, starting February off, Pelicans have the Lakers, Sacramento, Atlanta, and Cleveland at home before they traveled on the road again middle of February. OKC, LA Lakers, Toronto, and the Knickerbockers jump up on the schedule there on the 25th. Pelicans awfully, then they close out that February schedule, DC, Orlando at home. And then, of course, the Pelicans go back on the road. So a little difficulty there as the Pelicans taking some road trips there. 1 game home, 3 games, hit 4 games there. But in that stretch after they come home for Orlando on the 22nd of February of next year, they start off the month of March on a 3-game road trip going to Portland, Golden State, Sacramento. Then coming home on the 8th of March against Dallas, OKC, Portland, LA, back on the road against Houston and back in double matchups with Houston on the 17th of March. On the 19th of March, they got Houston. Then they go back to New Orleans, come back home for San Antonio in Charlotte. Then they jump back on the road on the March the 25th against the Clippers, Portland, Golden State, Denver, and then finally getting toward the back end of the Pelicans schedule. The Clippers, Kings, Grizzlies, and Knicks are all home games, and then the Pelicans close out the season's finale with a road matchup against the Minnesota Timberwolves in April. So that's the entire matchup, and of course the couple of televised games in March, in the late of March, the NBA TV game with the Clippers, and of course the matchups with Golden State in Denver or TNT matchups as well. So with that being said, DC, that's the summation of the Pelican schedule. Have at it.
Yeah, man. We got some interesting matchups, bro. Pretty difficult schedule in my opinion, though. But they got a lot of good teams in the league, so it's never really gonna be easy. But I'm just thankful we don't have as many back to backs, man. I remember we was doing the schedule uh last year or the year before last. Might be mistaken with either one of those years. And we had a gang of just back to backs, man. I only seen maybe 1 or 2 here where we had a back to back. So yeah, you got Portland and then you turn around and play Golden State, in March. So that right there is tough. Back to backs are tough, but to come off a back to back and play Golden State is going to be really difficult. I'm really interested in this Clippers matchup in March because they're probably going to be, trying to ramp up. You want to get in playoff form or playing form, depending on how your season is going in March, especially the end of it. And we play them on NBA TV prime time at 9:30. I think that's going to be a pretty interesting game, man. Because even if the Pels are doing as well as I predicted, and we may be able to take some games off, I think right here is probably maybe one of those cutoff points where guys are still playing significant minutes before you start trying to, I guess, get them prepared if you've solidified a spot in the playoffs. So you got that Clippers game. Real interested to see how we look against Miami as well, man. That's always been a tough one for us. We played them in January, coming off of Cleveland, who's also a team I'm anticipating on getting a little better. They showed a lot of growth last year, so that's an interesting side note because we turn around and play Miami after the Cleveland game. Then we get a little break with Orlando, and then we turn around and play them again, 4 days later. So really interested to see how that looks. Miami's a tough team, and they've always given us all we can handle, so real interested to see what the Pels look like against them. So that's in January. And I'll say 2 other teams pique my interest other than teams I've already mentioned, which would be Milwaukee, especially in January. January 29th game on NBA TV. Curious to see how that looks. Zion should be in mid-season form. BI, everybody should be clicking at this point. So really looking forward to right before February to see how the Pels match up against the Bucks, and also maybe about 5 games later against Atlanta. The more I think back and look at it, I don't remember the last time we've beaten the Atlanta Hawks, Big Q, especially since the emergence of
Cam Reddish.
no Trey Young, man. Ice Trey.
Yep.
Since he's been over there, I don't, and when he's played, I don't remember us beating him. So, real curious about that matchup as well on February 2nd, man. But we got our hands full with the schedule, but we're more than capable, and I think the Pelicans will not disappoint. It's gonna be an exciting season, and I'm still sticking to it, man. I said 50 wins, at least 50.
This is the
Uh,
this is the
and
thing too,
I still
DC.
think they can do it, even though the schedule is pretty tough.
This is the thing that we talk about, the 12, not 8 of the back-to-back contests you mentioned. Pelicans have 12 back-to-back matchups in this schedule right here, and there is no doubt they started off in a pretty good gauntlet of games to get off. And of course, historically speaking, a lot of people want to see the Pelicans get off to a strong start, like we seen last year with the Memphis Grizzlies, what they were able to do, DC, kind of separate themselves, win and losses totals. You see what I'm saying? They were to build up some space between the two, and a lot of people would like to see the Pelicans get ahead and make the adjustments early. And listen, they've been working their asses off in the off season, especially guys like Trigger Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, and several other Pelican players. Giannis is another dude that's working all, and a lot of it. Jose did his thing as well. So a lot of the Pelican faithful and the Pelican players are working their asses off in the off season to stay on point. So, and they understand the instant aspirations that the Pelican faithful have for them, and that this level of talent. So a lot of attention is put on this rendition of the Pelicans, man, obviously, because they see great things for this team, deep playoff runs for this talented team, especially when they're healthy. So that should be the focus of the team moving forward. Year 2 of Willie Green's administration, DC, and guiding this team toward prominence, man. And I think that's a big part of it. So getting off to a strong start against some of these tough teams early is a key part to have a success in the schedule, so they have to fight behind like they did last year.
Yeah, man. I don't see 12. I'm looking at these back to backs. I miscounted a few of them, but I don't see 12 of them, Big Q. I only see about 4 or 5. It looked like we get maybe one a month until the end of the season, and we get 2 of them.
I'll count them down while you're doing it, but go ahead and reply to what I was saying.
Oh yeah, man. You've been seeing the guys working, obviously. Jose Alvarado too, man. It's good you pointed him out because out of everybody, I see his highlights, him working on stuff, but every time I turn around, he's in a league playing street ball. He's playing like ball with other ballers, and it's just nonstop with him, man. He's definitely working real hard. Trigger Trey has been putting in the work. Herb, to me, I know he's been working, but he just don't seem like the guy who's gonna post his workouts, right? So, just because you don't see it, don't mean it ain't happening. Hoping for the same thing with a guy like Jackson Hayes. Don't see any workouts being posted with him, but I like to assume that he's putting in the work. Um, our rookie Dyson Daniels is all over the place, and Bi is in incognito mode, doing Bi things, as well as Zion. So I know him and CJ and Zion. They all talked about working out together, and they've been fairly quiet on social media. So I like to think that's what's happening. But the guys, like you said, are well aware of the expectations, man, and I think they definitely gonna live up to it, bro. Just excited about the season, man. The only problem I have is, man, why they gotta play with the Saints? What I mean, they're gonna have so many games where they're going on pretty much at the same time or pretty close together with the Saints. So not excited about that. But excited about our team, man. These guys are not gonna let us down, and this schedule sure in the hell ain't gonna let them fall asleep, in my opinion. It's almost every other night, man. They got a tough challenge ahead of them.
Oh, I just did it, DC, and it does count as 12. Matter of fact,
No, I count. I mean, it's 12 games, but that's what 6 back to backs.
Oh, I'm saying in
I count
terms.
back to backs as like 2 games. Like, two
Oh, you
games
you
as
do
one
you.
back to back. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's what you're looking at. I'm saying in
Yeah,
terms.
that's what I was saying.
Okay, all right, I
So
got
that'd
you.
be
That's
six.
fine.
That'd be six of them.
That's fine. All right, so let's keep it going, man. And of course, like I said, yeah, that's a big part of the strategy here is to handle the business, man. So, like it's mentioned here, this is Ali Cosell on. Shout out to Ali Cosell, man. We're gonna have to get him on the show to get his thoughts on the upcoming season, as well. Get him to come on back. But this is the thing here. If you take a look at some of the things, he had a really good article talking about it, and he mentioned it. Matter of fact, here it is right here. He says all in the Pelicans will appear in 12 back-to-backs, less than last season's total. That's good news because the 2022 group went 3-12 on the second night of the back-to-backs. He spoke about, he says, fortunately, after the opening the schedule with 8 of the 11 games on the road, the Pelicans will wrap up this campaign with 10 of 17 at home, including 4 of the last 5. New Orleans is battling for key positions down the stretch, and this details bode well. And of course, they mentioned the 11 times the Pelicans appear on national television, which is another thing the Pelicans are doing. And a lot of people looking at the team with great big old eyes. And of course, they're marketing the Pelicans saying this is the golden era of Pelican basketball. So, of course, what helps the Pelicans through the door is starting off strong now. Like we said, we looking at the schedule early on. Within the first couple of months, they have some very winnable games. A healthy Pelican team with Zion Williamson, Bi, and all those guys playing together could beat Brooklyn. They could beat Charlotte. They can beat Utah. They'll have a tough one with Dallas, but ultimately they do have the pieces in place to beat these teams. We talk about guys like Luka Doncic. Of course, we're going to be asking guys like Dyson Daniels to perhaps guard a Luka Doncic to see if he can slow him down. But I think a lot of what the Pelicans are going to do is riding on the acclamation of some of these other key pieces to what Willie Green wants to done and what wants to do, and of course the morphing of the team to fit whatever team that it's going against. If we need to move a smaller piece at the center position because of they might be too crafty or too fast for a guy like Giannis, we can be able to do that. So it's a lot of great things that we have. I'm really excited about some of these matchups early on, especially the Clippers matchup. In the Clippers and Golden State matchups, to kind of get the Pelicans up against some of that competition early. So, it's a big part of it, staying healthy and kind of gelling together. And you really won't truly see the summation of the team until you flip the year, and then you start seeing what they look like as they get closer to that that all-star matchup. But yeah, Pelicans have to figure it out, and they have a lot of what it takes to just have to keep doing what they're doing, stay healthy, and execute. And I think they'll be fine. So you mentioned 50 wins. I don't think that's a bad total, especially for a team if they can remain healthy and follow Coach Green's principles. The Pelicans should be fine. So, with that being said, DC, I'm gonna let you get the last word on that before we bounce out here.
Yeah, man, and I'm not anticipating them on them not having to deal with injuries, man. I think somebody, we love so many guys on this team. It's it's inevitable, but somebody will definitely get hurt. Hopefully it isn't CJ, Zion, or Bi for any significant time. But that's what I love about this roster the most, man. When injuries happen, or somebody gets nicked up, they have to miss some games. Sometimes we miss 5 games, 10 games, or what have you. We have the depth to be able to see what we got. Like I don't know what is going to happen with our rook Dyson, but let's say if he's not in the rotation, in the beginning of the season, well, you know, something will happen, and we gonna need to see what he got. You got a guy like Kyra, who a lot of times I think we forget about. He's coming back from an injury. And Devontae Graham get banged up, or Jose Alvarado, or whatever. You got Kyra right there. Who I think is more than adequate for somebody to pull up for depth. You know what I mean? So this team is really interesting, man, and we just have so many pieces, man. We're oozing with talent, and we're oozing with versatility and depth, and looking forward to seeing the coaching staff, and Willie Green in his second year to be able to kind of add on to what he was doing last year, and to maybe extend his unique ability with his rotations A lot of stuff we like, some stuff we didn't like, when he played Carrot Temple. But he had time to go back, look at things, and maybe throw some curveballs this year. You don't have to I guess worry so much or do things the ABC way, making sure you don't mess up, not trying to overcomplicate things. We can tell our roster to who we're playing, and we could have 10 to 11 guys that aren't rusty and ready to play because they're all getting minutes. Maybe some games they go and they don't get minutes, but another matchup shows where they're capable and we could use them and plug them right in, plug and play, man. And you're gonna see that this year. So we can play big, we can play small, we can play in between. The Pelicans are just well-rounded, man, and they definitely have a well-rounded schedule. So we're gonna need all of that versatility and our star power to go ahead and shock the league like we've been anticipating on them doing. And I can't wait to see it.
Me either. CJ McCollum at the point with his intelligence and his ability to make plays when he see the offensive stalling and distribute, it helps as well. Herb Jones' defensive acumen, improving his three-point shot. Zion Williamson fully healthy. Giannis doing this thing. B.I. reaching to another level. Trigger Trey Murphy's there with his maturation. We knew what he looks like. Jackson Hayes, don't forget him. And don't forget Larry Nance, KLJ, Dyson, Jose Alvarado. I mean, so it goes on and on and on. So, yes, very talented Pelican team that definitely has what it takes. And not to mention Devontae Graham. If he gets online, then forget about it. So, like I said, this is going to be fun watching this team. Very sturdy schedule, but at the end of the day, I expect nothing less from the league. They testing the Pelicans to see if they as good as what we think they are, and we think they're going to show them out. So, with that being said, fam, that's going to be the end of the stream. I'd like to thank all you guys for joining us for this episode of the Pelican Post Game Report. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, and share the show on your social media feed. It helps out the Pelican Post Game Report as well. I'm Big Q. DC's chiming in. We'll be back a little later on with more Pelican content, so y'all keep it tuned in because we are the best Pelican podcast in all the land, the longest running independent Pelican podcast in the land. We are the Pelican Post Game Report. Much love to the flock. We're gonna holler at you guys later. DC, good work, my brother. I'm gonna holler at you later. Much love to y'all.
Flock.
Y'all be good. Peace, and we out.
Peace.
Check out the Pro Shop. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform stores where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who That too. TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us.